add any number to none. It doesn't make sense. So I need to make sure that neither of them is none. So in order to do so, I'm just checking, is none num1? And if it's none, of course, it will return true. If it's false here, for this one is false, it will return false. This one, it will never happen. So if one of them is none and not a number, I need to return. I don't need to do the calculation. I'm going to return, simply like that. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, now if I pass this point here, that means num1 and num2, they are not none. Okay? Because if one of them is none, it will go to this condition, it will be true. I'm using the OR operator. One of them need to be true. So if num1 is none or num2 is none, it will go and stop my function, and I don't want to do any calculation because simply it's not possible to do so. If I got to this point, that means neither num1 or num2, they are none. That means now all I need to do, I just need to convert them to number. So I can just simply just say const. I need to give them a new names here. Yeah, what should I name them? A good naming here. Let's name it N1. It's bad naming, but anyway, I'm just converting both. Now I convert both of them to numbers here. Now I'm 100% sure that N1 and N2, both of them are numbers because I just convert them using this one here. I cast them or I convert them to a number. So whatever the value here, I convert it to a number and I save the value here in N1 and N2. I don't like the name N1 and N2. Do you have better naming? Any better naming? Let's name it first number. First number. First num, it's okay. Or first number, it's even better. And here, let's just name it second number. I don't like in N1 and N2. It's not good naming. But first number and second numbers are not very clear. Okay, now I'm quite sure that my num1 and num2 are not none. I've converted both of them to numbers. That means I will have this one. And after that, now I need to work with the operation. Depending on the operation, I will give different result. So what I can do here, maybe, I can declare a variable. And here I can just say let result, like that. It's equal to 0. Why 0? Because simply when I do any calculation with two numbers, the result, it will be a number because this one now is a number. If I hover over this one, see, it's number. I convert it, and the second one is a number. So I'm just declaring a variable. I give it value 0 just to show that I'm going to store a number in result here. And there is no problem to declare a variable here and a variable here. Is there any problem that I'm declaring two variables here with the same name?
No.
No, why?
Because it's in the block.
Yes, because they are in different functions, they are in different blocks. So the scope, when I create variable here, it will be only live inside this scope here, or this curly brace, and this one here, just another variable living only inside this scope. So it's not a problem at all. Great, now let's try to do the calculation. Well, of course, I can use if, else if, but here in this case, the switch statement, it's much better because I'm trying to compare very simple values. So I can just say switch, voila, and I can pass my operator or operation. And here, depending on the switch, I can do some few stuff here. So what I can do? Well, I can just say if the case is plus, like that, it will be stringy, plus. Then, just like Python, I will add this one, and here I will return, as you can see, I'm going to return first number plus second number, and the result here, of course, that will be stored here. I need to use a break statement. If I don't use a break statement, it will go to the all cases. That's not what I want to do. Case 2, of course, it will be minus. Same idea, I'm going to minus them, and then I'm going to break them. That's not a problem, as you can see. It's okay. Third case, I'm using multiplications. Also, it's not a problem here. Now, of course, the little bit annoying here, it will be the division. Why? Because I need to make sure that the second number is not 0, because if it's 0 division by 0, it will be an error here. So I can take this case, and here I can do that. But what I can do, I can simply add some condition here. I can just say, for example, how can I do that? Maybe I can add ternary operator. So what I can say here, I can just say second number strictly equal to 0, like that. If it's strictly equal to 0, then I can do something. For example, I can return, make this number here. What should I do? Well, maybe I can just return here, actually. I don't do any calculation here. Let's see if I can, I think I'm allowed to use the if statement here. So if I say if second number is 0, I'm just gonna return only. So I can break here, break like that. I think that should work. So as you can see here, I'm checking if the second number is 0, I'm just breaking here. I don't want to go to do this calculation because it doesn't make sense. But if the second number is not 0, then it will do the calculation, it will do the mean. Now, if the second number is 0, still my result, it will have a value 0, so it's not a problem. Of course, in the switch statement, I need extra case. What is the extra case? What is the other extra case? Default, so I can have default, and if default, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna break like that. Voila, just break. I'm not gonna do anything in the default here. Of course, you can use if else if you want to. It's also working. You can use switch statements. It really depends what you want. Now, what I'm going to do here after I'm calling this function, of course, it will give me the result. So currently it does not give me result. I need to do something at the end. What should I do? So now my switch statement, if I collapse it, I need to return something here. What should I do? What do I want from this function? What do I want from this function? What do I want this function to return?
Result.
Calculate result. Calculation.
Result of the calculation, yes. So I can just return result. So as you can see now, I'm going to use the return. Why? Because simply I want to something from this function. This function here, I will pass two stuff here. It could be mostly there will be string here, string. There are number string, and I have operations. And after that, I'm making some validation and make sure that both of them are numbers. Then I'm converting both of them to a number. And then here I'll just declare a variable to store the result, which I want. And I need to return at the end the result. I'll do this calculation. Depending if it's plus, I'm gonna add this one. If minus, I'm gonna add this one. If multiplication, if it's division and blah, blah, blah. Then at the end, I need to return the result simply like that. Okay, now what we can do here, let's try to log the result to see if we are receiving our result or not. So I should have actually the num1, num2 operation, and it should log the result to make sure that's working or not. So let's try with 23. Let's make it plus and make it, and it's 46. So that's correct, right? Because 2020 it's 4336. That's great. If I try with 24, and here I select minus, so 24 minus 23 should give me 1. It's working perfectly. If I try to do 3 multiplied by 3, it should give me how much? 9. Click, it's give me 9. And now let's try with a division. If I try to divide 9 by 3, it should give me how much?
3.
It will give me 3, of course, right? And now here, let's try to divide by 0. If I divide by 0, it should give me undefined. Actually, it give me 0. Why it give me 0? Because the default value of result is 0. So the default value, I give it a default value 0. And when I'm returning 0, so it will come here to this condition. It will check second number indeed is 0. It will break and it will come here and it will return the result. But what is the default value of result? It's 0. That's the reason why it gave me 0. If I did not give it a default value, so I'm allowed also. I cannot give it a default value. In this case, if I try to divide 23 by 0, now it will be undefined. Why? Because the default value is I did not give it a default value. But I think it's a good idea to give it a default value 0. Voila. That's nice. But I don't want to log the result here, really. What do I want to do with the result? Where is this guy? What do I want to do with the result?
Yes, we can display result to IDs.
So I want to put the result inside this div. So how can I do that? Well, it's quite simple. All I have to do just dom.result.inner text or inner HTML. It's equal to result. Voila. Let's go back, try to refresh. And now it's 23. add, and here's give me 46, as you can see. Let's try again. 24, this number minus this number. I don't know what's the result, but here it will be 221, as you can see. And I think it's correct. So let me try again with number I know, 20 minus 10. And select minus, so click calculate, it's 10, which is great. Let's try to multiply both of them. Multiplication, click and give me 200, which is absolutely correct. Let's try the division. 20 divided by 10, it should be 2, and it's give me 2. Let's try to divide by 0, it should give me 0, and give me 0. Yes?
Yes. If you enter a character.
Okay, let's try to enter a character. If I say E, of course, because the type here is number, and the type here is number, I cannot enter a character. I can enter one character, actually. Maximum, I can enter one. When I try now to click and type something, it does not allow me because the type is number. Let's try to do the same for here. And here, second number, as you can see, also I am allowed only, actually, the other character, I cannot enter any character except the E, I suppose. So nothing is working except the E, but let's try to do it. So let's try to add E plus E, and if I try to calculate the result, it will be 0. Why is the result? It will be 0. Well, because if I go to this function here, actually the result here, maybe I can return 0 immediately like that, so it will be okay. So here, if it's not none, I will return 0, same idea immediately. Let's try again. E, and here let's try to as plus, so it show me 0 here, as you can see. Why? Because simply when I'm checking here, if it's none, num1 or num2 is none, both of them actually is none, so it will return me this value 0. So my function, it will stop here. It will return me directly 0, it stops the function, and now here is the result, it will be 0, and it show me 0 here. I can not show 0 if I want to. What I can do here, I can just return, for example, not allowed, or whatever you want to.
I mean, that's why who am I speaking with?
Not allowed. So let's try to do that again. And type E, type one of them E, one of them is number, one of them E, it doesn't matter. Click. Actually, it give me 1. Should not give me 1. Why it's give me 1? It should not give me 1.
It's 1 plus 0 is 1 always.
No, but it's none actually. This guy here is none.
Yeah.
Let's try E again here. We can debug the code and now see it's giving me 0. Let's try to debug our code and see why it's giving me this way. So how can I debug my code? Well, I will just go inside my function here and I can add a debugger statement here to see how it's working. So let's try to do this one, refresh. Of course, nothing will happen. Why? Because when I click on the bottom, then my code, it will be executed. So I'm gonna add E. I'm gonna add 1, and then let's click and voila, stop here. So now let's see what's going on here. So although I am typing E here, Anton, so I'm typing E here because the type of the input is number, it will not accept the E. It will just give me empty string, as you can see. Why? Because in my HTML, here, the type is number. So even if I try to enter a character, it will just give me 0. It will give me an empty string. It will not accept it. So it does not try to get any value if it's not a number. And that's the reason why it is like that. So now, if I hover over num1, as you can see, it's empty string. Although I enter E, it's not going to work because the type of the input is a number. So it will just give me nothing. You enter nothing. No, you didn't enter any number. Num2, of course, it's 1, as you can see. And the operation, of course, it's a plus. Okay, now let's try to go here. Now this code, it will not give me, so this one here, it will be false. Why? Because num1 here is empty string. And when I try to convert an empty string here, I don't think it will be none. It will give me 0. So an empty string, if I try to convert it to, so let's try to convert an empty string to a number like that, number, and try to do the empty string, it will give me 0, as you can see. So it will not give me none. It will give me 0. Voila, that's fine. So this condition is false and this condition is false. That's the reason why actually it will never go to this condition here. And in reality, I don't need this condition now because I know whenever I enter anything here, if I'm trying to enter any character, JavaScript automatically it will convert it into an empty string and the result will be 0. So okay, now here that's even perfect. I don't need this condition at all now. We'll just remove it. Voila. Even if I'm trying to enter character, it will be just an empty string as we've seen. So it will be 0, the value, it will be 0, that's fine, yeah. Let's try to refresh our code and try to do it again. I will enter E. I will enter also E here. And let's try to do the plus here. Let's try to calculate. Num1 is empty string, num2 is empty string. And if I try to convert both of them to a number, both of them, it will be 0, as you can see, 0 and 0. If I try to add them, and that's the operation here, it's plus, so as a result, of course, it will be 0. So if I try to go here, it will be the first one, and the result here, as you can see, it will be 0, and it will show me 0, as you can see. Yes?
Yeah.
You see, Harley, how can we debug our code? So now we did not know why it's giving us 0 or why it's giving us 1, although we are typing something. And now when we go put debugger statement, and then we see, okay, this number actually, the value, it's not E, it's 0. And now here, we will able to fix this bug simply. Cool? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Did you understand the project, all of you?
Yes.
The rest?
Sam,
Yes.
you are using here DOM.button. So
Where's DOM dot button? Here?
here, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the meaning of this mean? Before you have used document dot button before due to the DOM element.
Mm-hmm. Sajid, where are my DOM elements?
DOM element are there in const DOMs like this.
So that's just a variable. This one
Okay.
here is just a variable. I want to access num1. I cannot access it because it's inside an object. So how can I access something inside an object? Well, I need to say DOM, that's my object. Go inside the object, give me the button, so that will be my button. Then add event listener. And this one here is not related to the DOM, the document we are using. No, it's just an object. Voila.
Okay. Then it's clear.
Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Hassan.
So